All right, we're live. Welcome, 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 everyone. Welcome, Team Be the Change. Welcome, BTC family, and welcome everybody out that is guest that has been invited to this special hangout. We're going to get into some cool concepts tonight, some things that in your marketing that you may not have come across before, that you may not have thought about before. And this is not something normally people teach you when they say, hey, we're going to hold your hand and show you how this is done. This is normally higher level advanced stuff. And we're going to talk about some of that tonight. But first of all, I want to welcome you all for coming out. And this is Team Be the Change. We normally have a hangout here every Tuesday night. And we do some training, talk about a few things, personal development, and see if we can find out the best ways on the planet to do this marketing thing, because we've got some of the best minds coming in here into the hangouts and talking about this stuff. And just what we do is really we kick back and talk about some of our experiences and illustrate a few things and talk about a few concepts that people can apply to their marketing. And we've had in the past a lot of people talk about the most transformational part of their business has been these hangouts, tuning in every Tuesday, listening to them, listening to the training that we have. That's not only just about marketing, but also your mindset that goes along with that. And what I found is that there's people that have all the strategies in the world and they think they have them down so well, which some of them in fact do. However, they do not create the type of income online that a lot of people I know who have their mindset right, their mindset set up the right way to handle their business and to be able to run it the right way. And we're going to talk a little bit about that tonight. So just wanted to kick it on over real quick. By the way, I'm Chris Rushlow, and this is Jordan Schultz, my friend and cohort business partner here. Come on out, Jordan. How you doing, man?
Awesome, man. Can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear.
Beautiful, beautiful. Yeah, I was just closing out some programs there. My computer's running a little bit slow. I'm doing great today, man. I don't know. Chris, I shared something with you earlier today, which was it was so powerful to me. The power of intention that happened. And I might share that a little bit later because there's like two sides to that story that I didn't share with you before, just because I was so dang excited. But it's some pretty cool stuff that has absolutely, I don't want to say nothing to do with the marketing because it has everything to do with the marketing, with what I can share in a little bit. But yeah, I'm excited to be back here. It's good to be back home and have clean water to drink and clean bathrooms. Aside from being in the hotel room, if you guys have, I love Bali, but if you've never been to Bali, there was one thing that just was so weird to me. They had these little shower sprayers in every bathroom, and you'd go into the bathroom stall, and like everything, walls and floors and toilet is just covered in water. You're like, why? I could never figure that one out. It was weird. I can't imagine what they were doing in there, but it was just funny. So it's nice to be home. But man. It's good to be back with full internet too. We were out there, and me and Chris were driving in one of the, you get a daily driver out there. You get a driver and a car for it's like $40 a day. It's amazing. It's awesome. So me and Chris and Angela were on our way out to I think it was the wedding that day, and we saw a little advertisement. It was like boasting. It was like this advertisement boasting that they had 5 megabit per second internet speed, and this was like the best internet they had, so I'm just like, holy cow, like that's not fast enough for me, it's kind of like it was just funny. So there's a lot of good reasons why I'm excited to be home and back in the swing, and welcoming new team members in daily now. It's exciting to be back in push mode, and although vacation was awesome, I'm ready to work hard for a little while before I go on another vacation. So
yeah. That's awesome. Well, and the thing is, like, I felt the same way when I made my first trip over to Thailand back in January, and it was just like I couldn't wait to get back so that I could be just back in like Western toilets. Anything else.
Yeah, and
something I hit ground. Yeah, I kind of felt like, in that movie that the Rock is in, Dwayne Johnson. I think it's like that where he's the babysitter. And I remember one specific thing where he's driving the van, and he's driving like crazy, and all 3 of the kids in there are just freaking out, like, because he's driving like a madman, like combat driving. And so they finally get to the school or wherever I think it was the school, and he pulls up, and one of the kids just jumps out and like lays flat on the ground, starts kissing the ground, going, "Land! Oh my God, I'm back!" And it's like that's almost like as much as I loved Thailand, as much as I loved the East and the culture there, like I was so happy to be back because it's just funny how easily we get comfortable with the way we have things, which we find out is not always the way that everybody does things.
Oh God,
And
no.
yeah, and it's funny, like people, you look at that in other cultures and you're like, wow, people have dealt with this their whole life and this is normal. And if they came over to the West, they'd kind of be like, this is so weird. I probably can't wait to get back to the East, back to my home. That's how funny
Right.
it is.
I remember, I forget who I was talking to. I remember, I don't even remember who it was, but someone had a foreign exchange student in from somewhere in Africa, right? They had a foreign
Mhm.
exchange student in from Africa, and they were living somewhere in California, I want to say.
Mhm.
And this foreign exchange student came to see this person's place, like where they were living, and it was literally like less than a studio apartment. It was tiny, it was like super tiny, but it had this little balcony and this view of Northern California or whatever. And when this person was bringing the foreign exchange student over, they were like embarrassed. They're like, I'm sorry, it's not better, or whatever. The foreign exchange student's like, you live like this, and the person's like, yeah, I know, it's not much. I'm sorry. He's like, does everyone live like a king in America? Because they had their own toilet and their kitchen and like the amazing view and like running water, and it's just amazing what we take for granted. It's amazing what we take for granted over here. I take for granted that I can step out into the street and moving cars will stop here. And not. we were
Yeah.
joking. We were joking by the end of it. In Indonesian, if you say the word awas, AWAS, it means I'm coming, get out of my way. And that's what horns are for in Indonesia. If they touch the horn, it means I'm coming and not stopping, so you better stay out of my way. So all the drivers just drive around honking their horn all day. It's hilarious, It's just, so I could go on and on and on about Bali and all that stuff, but we want to get into, some training and before we get into that, I'm sure there are other people I really honestly don't know because I've been so out of touch. I haven't even been sleeping normally. I mean, I'm like fall asleep for like half hour at night, and then I'm up until 6 in the morning and sleep until noon or 1. It's just so hungry at times of the day still. So I really don't know a whole of what's going on. I'm starting to get acclimated to everything, and I had to go get internet turn back today, which I'll share about in a little bit, and a really cool stuff. But I want to give a huge shout out to Pete Pritchard, who went all in this week. I forget exactly what day it was, but it's just so good to see you committed, Pete, and the energy that I'm feeling from you, and the energy I'm seeing from you from the little bit I've seen now since being back in the swing of things. It's just awesome to see, man. So congratulations. I'm excited to see this full-on commitment now and everything that's shifted. And it's exciting. There's something that happens when you go all in. Like there's something that shifts. There's someone that I know who recently went all in, and it's amazing because they were struggling. They were struggling to make money to get sales or anything like that. And I know when this person went all in, I was like, things are going to shift for you. Things are going to shift for you because now you're more committed, so you feel more comfortable bringing people in and having them pay you money and all this other stuff. It happened for me. I was struggling to get people to upgrade to the $500 and the $1,000 level before I went all in a year and a half, whenever like 18 months ago when I first came back. And the second I went all in, it was like all of a sudden that struggle was no longer there. All of a sudden I was getting $500 upgrades and $1,000 upgrades and $3,000 upgrades. Well, someone that just recently went all in not too long ago, she's now getting signups consistently. It's absolutely amazing to watch. So, Pete, man, I'm just so excited for you. I'm just so excited for you. I know there was someone else too, and I forget exactly who it was, Chris, and I think it was in this week, but one of Landon's brand new team members came in and went all in right away, instantly.
Well, I sent him a message because I was going to ask him about that, and I didn't hear back from him yet. Hopefully, I hear back from him, but it's been about a couple hours, so he must be, out of commission somewhere. I don't know if we're going to hear back tonight, but would like to recognize that person too. And if you're here on the Hangout, go ahead and just chime in the comments. If you're the one that was sponsored by Landon here in the last week and went all in, go ahead and let us know, and we'll recognize you.
Nice.
And, yeah. So as a lot of you know, I live up in the mountains at about 9,000 feet above sea level. And what that actually means is that I'm actually about almost 2 miles closer to the sun. And so what happens is if you're seeing this red nose right now, it's because if you're out in the sun a little too long, you get sunburned pretty easy. And so that's kind of what's happening to me today right now. So I kind of like try to do like the enhancement on the screen to make me not look so red, because like my whole face is actually like a tomato right now.
You get some fresh aloe leaves.
Yeah, yeah, definitely gonna do that. Definitely gonna do that. So, anyways, man, you know, the awesome thing here about what we're able to do is, you know, we're able to market, create a business that for both of us, you know, has created 6 figures a year income, and be able to travel and, you know, work from your laptop anywhere in the world. Even while you were on vacation there in Bali, you were able to work from your laptop. And income disclaimer, just for people that know, like our results are not typical, and you know, you can see the full income disclosure below at the bottom of this page. But you know, and we have to say that just technically and legally, because a lot of you might be wondering if we're some type of a scheme or scam or something like that. That's not the case. We're a legitimate company here. We're a legitimate team representing a company that has legitimate products and something that, as an entrepreneur, you can take advantage of and learn how to run a business online, learn how to market online. And what we're doing tonight is facilitating that for you, assisting and engaging with you and helping you understand what you need to know about this so that you can take your business to the next level. Even if you're just beginning, actually getting off the ground, understanding some of the stuff we're going to talk about here now is totally crucial, totally important. And what I want to start off with is, you know, Jordan, oftentimes you hear people talk about, you know, how easy this business is. And we talk about, because in marketing, you know, we're essentially doing what we can to get people to get over the line. And obviously, if a lot of them believe it's really, really hard, then they don't. It's a simple marketing concept where you attempt to display and teach that it's as simple as possible. That way, you know, we know that if we get somebody over the line and they decide to start their business online and get started in our team and everything, that they're going to stick around, and we know that we can involve them in the process enough and take enough of the tech stuff out of the way that they can have success if they continue to learn and not stop. You know, everybody gets frustrated. Everybody has a tough time with that at times. Everybody's different, but everybody encounters struggles. And what I laugh at is some people that just seem to quit at the first time something gets tough, which is hilarious to me. And I just wonder, like, what else have you done that with your life, and who else have you quit on in your life?
Mm-hmm.
And so, you know, that's one of the things there that, you know, what I've noticed about in my marketing, something that seems simple, something that seems almost without saying, although you don't see it very often, is staying congruent with your message and staying congruent with where you are and what you're doing, so that your people who are learning from you know that you're going to be around, know that you're going to be there, know that you're going to stick around and have the support system in place. It doesn't always happen. You often see a lot of people get shiny ball syndrome, and they jump into 3-4 different companies thinking somehow that they can make money with this, trying to promote all things at once. You know, like doing one on Monday and another company on Tuesday, and it's never worked, you know. And it's funny, like we tell people, and sometimes just some people just, the reason I'm saying this is some people just don't listen. Like we tell them everything, and they still go and make their own decisions rather than listening to somebody who's done this before and done this successfully. And so I've held back at times from explaining some of this really powerful, ultra powerful marketing, because people may, it's like there's a lot of moving parts to it, so people can more easily get confused. But if they use it, sometimes people use it the wrong way. You know, they use it for because it's so powerful. Some people who, if this falls into the wrong hands, then people who don't have integrity can really screw things up for people. And so what I would say is, if you're one of those people that are watching right now, you know, we're in an industry of entrepreneurs where it runs sometimes, there's times where there's people who are just desperate, and they lie about things, and they say things that are not true. They report crazy things, and, you know, fake screenshots of stuff and things like that to justify making a buck because they're so desperate. And so, unfortunately, it sometimes gives our industry of, online business opportunities kind of a tough name, because some people have been scammed by people, and um, it's tough to watch sometimes when people do that. And so, we're real careful with we'll teach the right people. And me and Jordan were talking, a little earlier last night and such, and just talking a little bit about, even before we got on the 90-day call, 90-day challenge call, which is almost done, by the way. It's been an awesome time, and just talking a little bit about, what people deserve. We were on the line earlier today talking, and just what people can handle and what people can take at first. And one of the things that I've been, kind of rolling around in my head here for a while is that, you know, here's the tough part. You have one side where you want to give people everything. And then for one, you give most of them, you give them just about everything, and a lot of people apply it, but they don't stick with it long enough. And then you give them everything, and some of them do it, and then you see a lot of them that go and use it somewhere else, and some of them use it for not the greatest, means of integrity that you've seen. And so you wonder, like, should I still teach it? And I finally came to the realization that because that's on them. So if we're going to talk about advanced marketing concepts, let's talk about it. And I don't have an outline for you tonight. I don't have any teaching platform or a bullet list or anything like that. But I realized it was time to just get kind of real with what marketing is for people and give you the right expectation of what you're going to have to learn in order to really create a business online that sustains you and pays you residually over time, which is the real dream, which is what we're all really looking for here, is to create passive residual income from your business through automated systems. And some of those systems we have, and some of those systems we teach you to set up for yourself. And so those who have done it have absolutely had a lot of success, so we know it's real, we know it's true, we're living proof of that. Income disclaimer below, results not typical, but we're here to teach what we know and how we did it. And so your results will be dependent upon how much work you put into it. And oftentimes, one of the biggest things here is what I've seen is application. One of the things that I've seen from very, very successful marketers, and I know you've seen this too, Jordan, is people who take notes at everything they learn, and then they rewrite their notes, and they actually methodically go through and apply what they learn. And what I've often seen is a lot of people, will sit at conferences where there's training and just sit back and watch and not even take notes, thinking for some reason they're going to remember everything, and thinking that some of this stuff doesn't apply to them and that it can't help them. And I've found from all of the different training I've been through from my mentors, I have found the weirdest ways that I've connected the dots that I never thought possible, that helped me come up with formulas that helped me create my six-figure income. Results not typical, but I did untypical things. And I was just working with someone today, doing some coaching, and explaining to them a structure of how you do stories and how those are so important, and how you sell through stories. And I'm explaining this, and I'm realizing that in order to teach this stuff, there's a lot to it. Although it seems simple, but there's kind of like layers to it. And and the person asked me, "Where did you learn this?" And I had to sit back and think for a second and go, you always learn by doing. There was no one source that I learned from. I think I took pieces of things that I took rabid notes on, and then kind of connected the dots in my mind and drawing it out on paper as to what that really meant, and then applying it and messing it up and screwing it up more times than it would take for the average person to just say, this stuff doesn't work, and sticking with it until it started to make sense. And the funny thing is, it's just that little shift when something finally starts to work, you go, oh, that's how it works. And you start to see what gets a result for you. And the other part about that, which is tough, everyone says, well, tell me exactly how to market and what to say, and I'll do it. And it's different for everybody, because in a business like this, and Jordan, I can see you shaking your head there, and I want to have you chime in here in a second. is people don't join companies, people join people. And so what may work for me may not necessarily work for another person. But what I can promise you is that I can work with you to and give you the tools to define what your target market is and how you can go about finding out what works for you and your market by asking the right questions, by going through the right training, understanding what you need to present to your market. And it's something that is not always, it's like, it's not always understood from the start. It takes time for people to understand the exact target market they want to go after and how to relate to them and how to speak to them, how to talk to them, and how to appeal to them. And so, but a lot of people go, well, what's my target market? I want to sell to everybody. What's my market? They're like, anybody that'll buy. And it's like, oh, no. We have to narrow this down a bit and get a target market that has the same values and the same belief structures so that you can speak to them in the way that makes sense. So before I go forward, just any thoughts there as you were shaking your head there on that, Jordan, about
Yeah, I think one of the most important things, I know you said quite a few things there, and now I'm trying to remember all the parts where I wanted to say something which I don't. But one point that sticks back in my mind is when you said that a lot of times people want you to tell them the specific marketing strategy and tell me exactly what to do, and I'll go out there and get results. And well, that works to a degree, and it can work for a little bit. It's never going to create. You're not going to be able to become a true leader in that fashion, and you're not going to be able to grow to the level of success that most people want to attain here. I mean, I don't know about you, but I would assume, and this might be a false assumption, most people don't get in this industry to make an extra couple $100s a month. I mean, I know some people do because they're like, if I could just get $500 a month to pay my to make sure that my rent was paid or some of these bills were paid, it would just allow me to stop going negative in my bank account if I just had $500 more a month. I know the average American family, if they had an extra $500 a month or $800 a month, I forget which one it is, they wouldn't have filed for foreclosure and their homes going under and all that stuff. So I know some people get in it for those reasons. But I got to assume that most people that get in here see the big dream, they see the big vision, and they want the big money, right? And while we can do things in the beginning, like I remember when I first got started, I made money because I looked at what someone was doing. They had systems in place and funnels in place, and they said, do this, and you can get results. And I didn't understand why it worked, and I didn't understand half of it. But I said, okay, I'm going to trust you. You've made a lot more money than me. So I just literally started doing it, and I started seeing results. I still didn't understand why I was seeing results, but I was seeing results. Nevertheless, one of the key points that you made there, Chris, is when you do begin to understand why things are happening, you can then start engineering those results yourself. And that's really when you get to that next level. So while things can be in place for people to get results, not knowing a damn thing. I mean, there's been plenty of things. I mean, look how many people when Empower first launched, how many people got results that had no clue what they're doing? A lot, a lot. And that's going to happen time and time and time again. But the people that really go out there and achieve the greatest levels of success are the ones that truly become a student of the profession, a student of marketing, and work their way towards mastering those skill sets. So again, you guys can get results by copying and pasting, by doing, by following and doing what people teach. You can get results before you understand certain things. To get to that next level is it's so important that you really begin to understand why things are happening, and so love it, man.
Cool. Okay. So yeah, and segueing into another part here is because that's perfect, man. It's perfect to that take on it, because a lot of people, they're like, okay, tell me what to say to my market, and we can, but there has to be a series of questions answered, and we have to know how you're going to be marketing to them and what you're doing and what your main core message is. Because everything has to be in alignment. Everything has to be congruent, or someone looks at you and goes, something doesn't feel right. And sometimes the only thing that doesn't feel right is you're not believing in yourself to be able to do this kind of thing. And I get that, especially when you're new and you're like, well, you're kind of still trying to figure out if this thing is real and if this thing really works. And the answer to that is yes, it does if you work it. There's many, many people who have had a lot of success doing this, and it's a personal journey. So is there the ninja secret close that someone can teach you? No. There's a few techniques and maybe some certain verbiage that you can use that helps. And it's like this. I did a training in Seattle and in New Orleans a couple months back on how to connect and relate and upgrade your audience, your target market. And I gave people what they wanted and sprinkled in what they needed. I gave them a template of certain verbiage to say, things they needed to let someone know, and certain lines that they could say in their emails or in when talking with someone that are more like training wheels to help someone get going, right? But what I kept on stressing to everybody is, you don't have to say it exactly the way I'm telling you, and in fact, I recommend you don't. You need to customize that to the person you're talking to. And how you do that is by asking the right questions, determining and understanding what that is for each person. And so, there's a reason why my upgrades were really, really high with the company that we promote for. And it often comes down to something that you may look at and go, roll your eyes. But it's really about connecting with someone and having them know that you're real and you're genuinely willing to help them and point them in the right direction and get them the training that they need. And when you can be honest with someone about that kind of thing and let them know what they can expect, that's why our retention is so high and upgrades are so high, because people stick around. And a lot of them don't upgrade right on the call there, but they set an intention to upgrade and they keep that intention and upgrade over time. And that's proven to be very, very effective. Well, if I just had a series of lines for you to use, then you'd be missing the point, because the biggest thing about upgrading and retention and creating culture and community is really connecting with people and letting them know you're real. And what you'll find is you'll find the best way to present yourself to people, and it will resonate with them. And it's funny because a lot of people have to go through this journey where they go, okay, how am I supposed to act? What am I supposed to say? How am I supposed to do it? And how can I display myself to be so powerful and so full of authority and credibility from day one? Which is really impossible when you're new because you don't have results yet. But some people, they think that's what they need, and so they let that stop them from doing anything, which is absolutely crazy, because we have credibility and authority in our team stuff and our systems for people to use, so it's not even an issue. But funny, people get into this industry and they complicate it and overthink it and think things have to be so complicated when it doesn't. But what you'll find is that when you really just let the BS go and stop overthinking so much in your head and realize that all you have to be is yourself to people, and then be yourself but understand what you're giving them and understand the value that you're giving them, the value you're bringing to them, and help them understand and believe in the opportunity that you're bringing to somebody. And that comes through in your tone of voice, that comes through in your body language and in your energy. And if you haven't gone through the products to be able to start believing in the company and the training and what this company does for you and the products, what they do for people, then it's a lot more difficult. So there's actually a lot of self-application and learning and taking notes and applying things that I just see a lot of people don't do. Like I used to be a horrible note taker in school, and I was a C student, and I barely graduated high school. And I found out that as I got into internet marketing and I was learning, there were a few things I got into really well, and I was really interested in, and I really took to it. And what I found is that I was taking more notes about it than I had taken notes on anything else. Well, what happened from that is I saw that I excelled in that area more than anything else, because I took crazy notes and then rewrote them to make sure that I understood in and out these things I was being taught about marketing. And it turned out to be some of the stuff I do the best. And so when I see very, very successful leaders, they're the ones that take so many notes, and they take notes, but they don't stop there. A lot of people will take notes on a notepad and then leave a training or leave an event and go home and just let that notebook sit there, but they don't open up what we call all of those uncashed checks. All those notes that you took, if you actually apply those, they're really just uncashed checks. How many checks are you not cashing? Because it's funny, between people who have had very successful businesses online, we talk about this and go, this stuff is actually very simple. Most people just won't stick with the process and do the work. A lot of people won't take notes and then read those notes and engage in some critical thinking as to how that works for them and the type of people they want to attract into their business, which is really a part of your ideal life, and creating that, the type of people you want around you. So obviously that's not that difficult. You want people like you, that think like you, that have the same values as you, that have the same beliefs as you, that like the same things, that like to do the same things. It was just like, I went down and hung out with Jordan, it was a little bit ago before we left, on all of our trips here, and I went to Alaska and everywhere else, and we went biking for a day because we both like biking, and we just went and did that one day. That's one of the things we do together, is go biking. And so it's like just those types of things with your audience, little things that make a difference as well. And what you'll find is, what's even more powerful is, once you get into what you're doing, it starts to come into play as to how you do it. You always hear that phrase, it's not what you do, it's how you do it. And you'll find people join you not because you like to bike, but because you have the free time and the lifestyle to go biking whenever you want, doing what you want when you want. And people go, you know what, I may not want to bike, but I want to be able to do what I want, which may be hiking, which may be gambling, whatever the case may be, anything. But you'll have the free time to be able to do that, and the resources to be able to do what you really want to do. And so I find people coming in that don't have necessarily always the same interests, because I've graduated to another level of marketing where I can say, look, we may value the same worldview, but we like to do different hobbies, but we can still connect and understand why we're doing this business. And so much of it really comes down to what people value. Oftentimes some people have a natural inclination to not like people that are not like them, which is kind of sad. But it's not like people that are not like them. It's kind of like, well, it says itself, right? But if you can find a way to successfully display the things that you love to do and show that that's where you're going, then people see that and go, you know what, I want to be able to make that choice for myself too. And I know this is not monumental stuff, but oftentimes if people just did the work and applied this and tested this, what I see, the biggest number one killer of something is people learn a particular marketing strategy and they're told something to say to their market, and they try it once, sometimes twice, and because it doesn't get a massive results, they just stop. Because the truth is, there's no real secret we can give you here, but it's about doing the work. But we can give you all the tools, and we can give you the training for it. That's why we focus on mindset and personal development here on these Hangouts, and marketing concepts, because then you can apply that to whatever you're doing. With leaders, we sit and talk about different strategies like it's nothing. Like, oh, well, you're doing this strategy, well, I'm doing this over here. Well, maybe I can go do that too after I've mastered this one, so I'm looking for another one to master. But the thing is marketing. So you can take, once you know your market and how to speak to them, you can take that into any strategy that you want. That's why we don't worry too much about all the strategies. You have that in 15K, you have that in team training, you have that all over the internet. But the mindsets of how to apply marketing is what matters, how to influence people, how to resonate with your audience. And what I found that works the best for me is, a lot of people say, you want to market to people who are looking to make money online. And funny enough, I don't even market there. I market to people that have the same interests as me, and like the same concepts, and have the same spiritual views. And for some reason, I can find them, talk about the same things that I value like them, whether it's my spiritual views or lifestyle or certain books that we read. And I can talk about those things and then tell a story that illustrates how I lived the life of my dreams and what happened to me. and illustrate how it's possible for others, just like it happened to me. And what I found is that story is the most powerful thing ever, most powerful thing ever, because even the greatest people on the planet that were the most influential, the ones that started religions, the ones that have led nations, funny enough, they always illustrate points by telling stories. This is how people can relate a story, because then they can visually see it, because then they can start to understand it in their mind through their emotions and their logic. And so telling a story illustrates something. It's like giving an example. And so when you give example after example after example of people who've been successful, it doesn't have to be you, even at first. But a lot of people, it's funny. It's like, you probably think this song is about you, don't you? And it's not about you. It's about the message, and it's about the successes of people that you can display to people as an example. Social proof is by far, if you ask any copywriter or any person who's an expert marketer, social proof is the biggest thing. Well, if you're out there as a lone wolf trying to sell your own information, and you don't have any social proof, and you don't have any testimonials, and you don't have any of that, then you're not going to go very far, because that's going to be the biggest thing that makes it real to people, is when real people are having those results as well. The good news is, you come into our team, we already have those. We have testimonials from people. We have people getting results. And you can connect to that and show people, look, these people are getting results. And it works. It's worked for a long time. It's always worked. It will continue to work. And a lot of people just need to learn how to get out of their own way and make it not about them, but make it about the system, and make it about the vision, and then come back around with your own personality, who you are and what you resonate with. And that's why people join you. But they need to know it's real. You need to tell them stories about other people that have had success. Even politicians oftentimes will take a question and then illustrate their answer with a story. And leaders do the same thing. They'll tell stories in their speeches. The heads of state will have speeches. They'll tell stories to illustrate the same thing. And a lot of people, once you learn how to storytell and tell your own story, and then be able to tell other stories effectively, other people's stories as well, which is just as powerful, if not even more powerful. Once you learn how to effectively do that, then this becomes real to people who may not have even thought about having the benefits of what you're looking for. People who may know the problem that says, I'm pretty frustrated with, not being able to have A or B in my life, but I really don't know how to change that. And you can come along and say, look, we have the same interests, we have the same goals, we have the same worldviews, and we even have the same spiritual beliefs, but there is a way to solve this problem. You may not have been aware of the solution yet, but let me show you what happened to somebody else who created the solution, and let me show you what has happened to me and what I found as a result of this solution that I have for you. Let me tell you a story as to how it worked for me, how it worked for other people, and let me get you access to it as well. If this is something that resonates with you, then you can as well check it out and see if it works for you, if you make it work, which is the real key. It works if you work it, right? But that type of marketing is so powerful, because it's almost like, my buddy Justin says it the best, the art of marketing without marketing, because you're displaying values to people and then telling a story. You're not saying, hey, you need to buy this thing because it has all these benefits and all this stuff. That is an old school way of selling that doesn't work in the new world. And with this new economy on the internet, it's powerful. We're seeing the power of storytelling and how to put your story together the right way, which we're going to be coming up with here soon in our workshop, but I'll save that for a little later here. I want to throw it on over to you, Jordan, and just see if you have any thoughts here on this storytelling stuff.
Well, I'm going to take it to a little bit of a twist first before I get into what you're talking about here. And touch back on what I didn't tell you earlier today. I told you some of the stuff, but I didn't tell you everything. So
that's called an open loop for those of you, by the way.
Right. So earlier today, I was taking back my cable box and my internet back to the cable company. I was ready to turn it back in and go to a different company. And I'll tell you why right now, and I'm going to keep this part of it kind of short. There's two important points to really touch on here. First and foremost, I moved about 4 months ago. I moved from my tiny basement apartment that I lived in to a 4-story townhouse, probably about a mile that way. I don't have internet there right now, so I'm over at Angela's house, but I about a mile that way. So I moved about 4 months ago. Now, 3 weeks before I moved, I called the cable company. I said, I'm switching my service over to the new house. I need to absolutely 100% make sure that I have internet at my new place the day I move in. It could be a few hours after I move in, but it has to be there the day I move in. Now, I'm flexible on what days I can move. So do I need to move on Friday to make sure that you guys can have someone there to flip my internet on to make sure that it's turned on? Or is Saturday better because I can get actually more people to help me move? What is better? They said Saturday's fine. We'll shut your internet off at your one place Saturday morning and turn it on at the new place Saturday. You should have no problems. And when I got there, it didn't work. So Chris was actually there for this part of it. So I called the company and I say, it's not working. What do we got to do to get this turned on? And they basically said, we need to send someone out there to flip the switch. And I said, someone was supposed to do that already, but how soon can you have someone out? They're like, after the weekend. I was like, that's not acceptable. You guys told me, So the whole long story short is they told me they were going to send someone out. They didn't send someone out. Then I spent hours on the phone. The next day I spent hours on the phone. Basically, they kept dragging me along and kept telling me things that I wanted to hear without ever telling me the truth, After a few days of spending hours on the phone with them and getting it turned on, and having to go to other places to work my business on one of the biggest launch, it was a huge launch for our company. I wasn't able to get stuff out. I wasn't able to do certain things. After all that, I got on the phone with, about 5 different managers, and finally I said, you know what, you guys need to take care of me on this one. I typically bill $500 an hour for my consulting services, and you guys wasted 6 hours of my time, as well as put my business out of service with internet for a while. And the last manager on the phone said, yeah, we'll give you 3 months. I said, I want 3 months of free service. That's like $500 for me. I said that's the minimum you guys could do is give me 3 months of free service. So this lady agreed to it. Everyone I spoke to, I said, I want you to make sure there's a note in my file saying that I'm getting 3 months of free service. I don't want to have to come back to this later. I don't want to have to deal with this later. So 3 weeks ago, before I left for Bali, I get a thing saying, you're 3 months behind on your cable bill. And I was just like, instantly what happened was I got upset. Now, I typically allow myself to like maintain composure for a while. Chris even saw me losing it that first time talking to people, but that was after a few hours of talking to people and them keep telling me not things that, are not cool. I'm typically really good about setting my intention properly and really maintaining my composure and getting what I want. Have gotten good at that over the past few years. This particular day, I did not. I was instantly angry. I'm like, how come? Because the lady was telling me there was no notes on my thing. There's no notes on your thing saying that you get free internet, or free service. We can't even actually do that. And I was just instantly irate. And I said, so in my mind, I was already upset. There was no way this was getting resolved. I was basically just venting to this lady, and not happy, right? So long story short. Me not being happy that day and venting, I said, you can cut my service off, I'm not paying you, and I'm never going to do business with you again. Well, I said, you know what, I've looked around at different services. I really like Comcast. They have the best service, the fastest internet. I've never had issues with them other than this one time. Literally, I've never had an issue before. And I really want to keep their service. I really, really want to keep their service. I've not found anything else that's remotely close, and I really do like it. So I packed up the cable box, I packed up the internet thing, and I go into this place. And as I'm going in there, I said, I'm going to set the intention to get that everything is going to work out perfect here. And then Angela looked at me, she's like, set the best intention that you're going to get the absolute perfect person to speak to here. And so I walk in with my bag, and I'm smiling, and I'm happy, and I'm just like, I know something amazing is going to happen here. I walk in, and I set this bag on the counter, and I say, I need to speak to a manager. And the kid looks back at me and says, we don't have any managers here. And, at first my thought is like, oh, something bad's going to happen here. I said, nope, this is cool. Okay, we'll figure it out. And so basically, long story short, what happened was not only did I walk out of there not paying my almost $600 bill, he turned my internet back on. I actually have to call a number, but he put it back on. And I got internet and cable now for almost 50% less on a monthly basis than what I was paying before, right? The difference I want you guys to realize here is my intention at that first time was all over the place. I was angry. I was pissed off. I allowed my emotions to take over and put me in an angry state where my intention was, fuck these people, blah, blah, blah. Just that kind of mood. Whereas I walked in there today with the intention of, we are going to get the best possible results here. I'm going to speak to the right person. And he wasn't even a manager. He wasn't even someone that could like do certain things, but he says, I can do a roundabout, we can pull some strings and get this working for you. And he did, because he understood. I said, here's what happened. I love your guys' service. I know that, I honestly felt mistreated. This lady told me that my time wasn't valuable, blah, 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 all these different things. And the guy just knew that I was dead serious, that I'm either walking out of here and I'll go buy cheaper service that doesn't get me as good of results rather than using you if you guys can't help me. And we had a great experience. So, you guys, the thing that I'm portraying here is me and Chris actually talked about this last night on our 90 Days Challenge call, is setting your intention. Is setting your intention for the outcome that you desire and focusing on that, not understanding how it's going to come there, not understanding how it's going to happen, but setting that intention. When you change your intentions and your energy, it's people around you don't necessarily change. They don't necessarily change and start acting differently before your energy is flowing out, but the way that you're reacting to things, the way that your energy is coming off, they're more friendly, they're happier. Whereas if you go in with like I know there's someone I know that we were driving and he said, when I go inside and tell my girlfriend that I want to go do this, she's going to be upset at me, we're going to get in a fight, and I'm going to leave anyway. And I was like, well, that's actually a bad intention to have. You should go in there with the intention of, I'm going to go in there, say, and we're going to go out. She's going to be totally fine with it. And they didn't do that. And the intention was that we're going to so they ended up getting in a fight, getting into an argument, and, still went out, still had a good time, but the intention caused it to be that way, which is the same energy I went into that call with that day. I was really pissed off and, ready to just swear up a storm at this company, right? So how does that relate to you guys in your marketing? You might be wondering that. How does that relate to you in your marketing, and how is that going to cause your prospects to react differently or act differently towards you? Is when you set an intention for things to happen a certain way. Some people will say, I can only, I'm only attracting people that don't have money or don't want to, spend money or whatever, or I haven't made any money yet, so how can I help other people make money, or different things like that. And the energy that's flowing from there is sending off all these signals to other people, whether or not you know it, whether or not you realize it. When you have that intention inside of you and you have that energy inside of you, you will say different things. You will have a different energy inside of you that portrays on the outside of you. You will come off differently. You will come off less confident. You will sound like you're just saying things to say things, but you don't really understand why you're saying things, or you don't feel confident in what you're saying, and people will not trust you because they don't see that you actually have conviction and belief in what you're saying. When you switch your intention and shift your intention and say, I'm going to attract the right people to me, I'm going to attract people that have money, are willing to spend money, and are ready to get started right now and go all in my business, you will start to come off differently and attract people differently to you, right? Everything shifts when you do things with intention and with purpose, which brings me to another point. And we talked about this last night on the call, and I want everyone to hear this because this is just so dang important, is when you do things with purpose versus doing your marketing without purpose versus like forcing your marketing. Folks, I know in the beginning there's all times where we have to force our marketing. We have to come up and say, I need to put something out, so I'm just going to sit here and force something out and make something happen. I do it. I know Chris does it. I know Amy does it. I know we all do it. I know it happens more in the beginning stages than it does in the later stages. But if you can take this one concept that I'm about to share with you that's coupled with the intention and whatnot, and mix that together and put that into all of your marketing, things will happen entirely differently. When you can come from the passion inside of you, when you can come from deep down inside of you in your marketing and come from like excitement and just inspiration, when you can get inspired in your marketing, when you can have inspired ideas or inspired thoughts and share that with people, everything will change. People can feel that energy difference because you're excited, or you're emotional, or maybe the energy like you're remembering back to certain things that happen in your life, and you come to sad moments. You've seen speakers end up crying on stage. That's not forced. That is real. Like, they're getting back to that emotional state. And I'm actually thinking about a time when one of my mentors was up on stage talking about how he couldn't even afford, like, he was so broke that when he watched his wife pour milk on the cereal for his kids, that he would tell her to not put so much milk on the cereal. And he started crying on stage because he remembered how broke he was and all the different things that he couldn't afford for his family, a nice car for his wife to drive to actually feel safe in. The time that her car broke down on the side of the freeway and he was helpless. He couldn't get to them because he didn't have a car and he could not go help them. He felt helpless, right? The hair is standing up on me. I'm feeling the emotions going inside of me. I'm feeling that energy. Maybe you guys are feeling that now too, right? When you can come from that state of inspiration and share your story, share what's happened in your life with other people, they can get into that energized state. They can get into that charged state that you are in or that you're in, and they start to feel that same way too. They start to feel those same emotions. They start to feel that same stuff too. So when you are out and about, folks, when you're out and about and all of a sudden, now maybe you haven't made any money yet. Maybe you're brand new in the industry and maybe you don't understand anything at all yet. One of the first things I always tell people to do is I want you to sit down and think for a moment about why you decided to get started in your business. More importantly, why you decided to get started in the company you're in as well as the team that you're involved in. Maybe if they have teams and whatnot. Some companies, it's just all one big thing. And some companies like Empower Network, there's tons of teams, which is really cool. It's all one big family, but it's also, hey, we're part of this team and we're part of this team and we still all work together, but we're all part of different teams and whatnot, right? So when you think about why you decided to get involved, what were the catalysts, what were the emotions you were feeling, what happened there, if you can instantly start thinking about that, you're going to come back to a state where you're emotionally charged, where you have certain feelings going on inside of you, and you're inspired to share what it was that made you decide to get started, what you were looking for, what the circumstances were in your life, what pushed you over the edge, maybe what doubts or fears you had. I thought maybe this, but then I overcame that and thought this. So, for me, I remember when I first started looking at building a business online was back in the middle of 2008. It was in July of 2008, and there were a few catalysts that caused me to start looking for that. First and foremost, I had spent years of not going on vacations. I had spent years of not seeing my friends and family. I missed weddings. I missed birthdays. I almost missed funerals of really good friends. I didn't see my dad, who I lived less than a mile away from, for over 4 months one time. I didn't get to do things. I didn't get to travel. I didn't get to go to concerts. There were so many things building up over the years that just kept happening and happening and happening. And finally, one day I said, you know what? There's got to be a way for me to build a life that's going to give me more time freedom, right? So I started looking for a different way. And I found this amazing internet marketing opportunity, and I was looking at it, and the thing that I did is what most people do. You get excited about it. I went and I shared it with my family, and I started telling my brother about it, and I started telling my mom about it, and guess what happened? They talked me out of it. They said, you're not ready to go start a business yet. You don't have money. You don't have money in your bank account. You're actually in debt. You don't have the kind of capital to start a business. Basically, you're not in a position to start a business. That's what they kept telling me, and I fell for it for a while until one day, I remember it was 5 days after my nephew Mason was born. He was my very first nephew, and I remember going over to my brother's house a few days before Christmas to visit my 5-day-old nephew. I was so excited. I love this little guy to death. He's like 5 now. He's awesome, And I remember going there, and I'm holding this little 5-pound guy in my arms like this, and I'm looking down at him. And I realized right then and there that my brother Jason and his wife both worked from home full time, and they were going to get to see their kid grow up. They were going to get to see him walk. They were going to get to eat breakfast with him every day and see him start to crawl and see him go through the entire experience of growing up. They were going to get to raise their kid from home, and that was something I knew right then and there. I said, I don't have kids yet. I don't have a wife yet. I want to have a family someday, and I know that if I stay where I'm at, I will not be able to see my kids grow up except for seeing pictures on a desk at the business that I run. That shifted everything for me, because in that moment I said, I'm done. I'm doing this. I'm figuring out what I got to do. I went home the next day. I started ordering credit cards. Within 3 weeks, I launched my business. Within 3 weeks, I launched my business, right? So what did I just do for everyone there, right? I took you guys through the emotional state. You guys could probably feel the emotions. You could maybe see the energy in my eyes as I was starting to get, teary-eyed about my brother being able to raise his kid from home and be there for everything. Like, you could feel that, right? When you get into that emotional state and you come from that inspired state of why you did what you did and you share that with people, it doesn't matter if you know anything about marketing. It doesn't matter if you understand how to build a business or if you've made a penny yet. people will be able to relate to why you did what you did. They will be able to put themselves in that emotional state. They will be able to get to that energy. And that's one of the big things Chris talked about. A lot of people look for saying the exact right thing and the exact everything. It doesn't have to be the exact circumstances. It's taking people into an emotion, right? I took you guys into some emotional states there. When you can take someone into that emotion, they can relate that emotion to whatever they want to relate it to in their own life, and they can then come up with that catalyst for why they're going to get started with you in your business, right? So I could go on and on and on and on about this. I could keep going on and on and on about this. I'm going to take it over to a little bit of a different area, folks, and just say, when you do your marketing, let's say, for example, you're outside walking in the park and you see something and something inspires you and you say, oh my God, I need to share this with people. I need to share whatever just happened to me right now with other people because they need to hear this because I'm feeling energized about it right now. I'm feeling inspired to share something with people. For example, the other day I was driving home on the shuttle, the Green Ride shuttle from the airport to home. And I was sitting next to a guy who I ended up started talking to, and what I discovered through talking to him for a little bit was he is struggling in life. He is struggling so bad in life right now that he almost didn't go to his best friend's wedding on the other side of the country, and the only way he was able to go was because he had another friend who was a pilot and got him a round-trip plane ticket for less than $200, and he was able to go because his girlfriend said, you gotta go do this, and his girlfriend stayed back and took care of his son, who's 22 years old, who has it's not Down syndrome, but it's some other autism. There we go. Has autism, and he is not only struggling for that, he's struggling because he can't maintain a full-time job because he now has to take care of his kid who's 22 years old because his kid can't stay inside of these certain programs and whatnot, right? So when you see certain people struggling to maintain a job and pay their bills and all this stuff, how long are they going to stay in that position before they look for another way, right? So he asked me what we did. I said, I work at home. I teach people how to make money online. He didn't actually ask any further. I don't actually prospect people in that nature. But if I were to go and share that and say, this is one of the reasons why I'm so excited to share opportunities with people is because I see people who are struggling. I can feel their pain, and I just want to help them so they don't have to go through that struggle in life, so they can actually live a life that they enjoy living, so they don't have to struggle to be able to go on a vacation with their friends and family because they can't afford to have their kid taken care of or take their kid with them and have the right stuff in place because they can't work a full-time job. They could actually work from home and make the kind of money they need to make to have a good life. It's not just people that are in that position. I want to help all people, right? But if I go share that story with people and I put that in my marketing and I share that out in the public, then I can inspire some people. I can get people into that emotional state. They can feel what that guy was feeling. They can feel my energy and the reason why I do what I do, the reason I want to help people, right? They can feel that, right? So does it matter whether or not I've made money yet? Do you guys care whether or not I've made a penny yet? No, right? But you know that my intention is because I want to help people, right? You know that I want to help people get out of that bad place. I want to help people get away from that pain and come on to, prosperity and happiness and living the life of freedom and all that stuff. It doesn't matter whether I've made a penny or not yet, right? But I see that, and then I say, you know what? And I found the solution. Let me introduce you to what I discovered, right? It's so simple, folks. It's so simple, right? It's so powerful. So, man, Chris, I've been jamming for like 15, 20 minutes now, man.
No, I love it, man. It was perfect, and it came in at the perfect time because that's really what we were going to go into. And, you illustrated this perfectly because what you did is you showed an example of how you went through the emotions and what you went through and how people connect in with that. They may not have been working in their family restaurant, but they were feeling what you were feeling. And people can, like you said, attach their own emotion to it, attach their own meaning to it. And for them, it's the same type of association where something's got to change, something's got to give. And what I loved there is what you also illustrated for people is when you said to yourself, I've got to find a better way to do this for myself. And you said something almost exactly like that. And what you did there is when you say that to yourself, you're giving somebody who's listening to you or reading your story permission to say that to themselves. And they actually say it to themselves as well, and they start to put themselves in your shoes. And when they're in your shoes, they get to go through the emotions that you had, the problems that you had, and then they get to also go through the solution. And so the solution that you were just getting into and segueing into is now to illustrate what you found. It's kind of like what some experts call the solution search part of the story, where you finally decided enough was enough and you needed to find a solution, and then you found the solution, and here's how it happened. And it's actually very, very, very important to explain and display and show an example of and tell the way it happened about how you found your solution. And it's very important. And why is that? Because it becomes real to somebody when they realize what happened, and they can see it and go, okay, you know what, that can happen to me as well. Case in point, you may come across somebody's Facebook post talking about this story, and you tell them, look, I came across a Facebook post as well that had someone telling me about this story and the benefits that they started to receive when they found this solution to their problems as well. Well, when you tell them that, it becomes real to them, like, you know what, they may be reading your story on a Facebook ad. And so it becomes real to them all of a sudden that, you know what, I'm reading a Facebook ad right now. I could be following in these footsteps. I'm following the story. So what's next? They're still open and receptive to what's happening. They're still open and receptive to what the solution is and how it comes about. And they're open to it coming to them as well. You could say, I got an email from a friend that told me about this solution, and I went to go check it out. At first I was a little skeptical, but then after I watched it, I realized it was one of the greatest opportunities I'd ever seen. And when you say that, you're able to make it real for a person who may see something and be a little skeptical, and then actually decide to watch the video of what it's about and realize for themselves as well that it's one of the greatest opportunities they've ever seen. You see, you make it real for someone because you've been there before. You've blazed the trail. And you just want to bring the followers, the people that are going to come in, and you can lead them to the promised land. So telling that story about your struggle and then where you found the solution is extremely important. And once you found the solution, what you're going to do with it. That's the other part, is making sure that once you found the solution and it's now something that has given you a chance to learn how to be financially free, a chance to learn how to run a business online and apply that to whatever business you have, or maybe you may be given a business in a box, or given basically products to sell until you branch out into your own business. If you're given products to sell, then you go and do that. You may not have the results at first, but what you can start talking about is the people that have. And that's the part of the story where you can talk about the people that have had success, the people who've had results from this, and what they do with their life. And what that does is it illustrates to the person who's reading the story or listening to the story what they can do with theirs. If you talk about a person who just now has the free time to go out on their sailboat all the time, and that's what they love to do, and they can be in the flow and do that, and they have enough income and enough financial wherewithal to be able to pay all of their bills, have the free time to do that, take care of their family, take care of the people they love and care about, and contribute to any causes they want, still tithe at their church, whatever the case may be. They're able to do all those things and still enjoy the benefits of having what we call both. And what I mean by both is a lot of people think that it's either one or the other. They either have to keep everything for themselves and not give to others, or they have to give everything to others and not keep anything for themselves. And you find a lot of people that are like that go, well, I want to enjoy the fruits of my labor and enjoy the spoils of my labor. And it's true, but what I would argue, and this is what I find with very ultra successful people, is why not have both? Why not be able to make a lot of money? Let's just talk about money for a second and say, why not be able to make a lot of money to where you can have everything that you want and also be able to contribute to the causes that you feel are worthy of it, to the nonprofits that you can help jumpstart in your community and around the world. You may be able to donate a lot more to those funds that feed people in Africa or build wells in Africa or different places in the earth, third world countries where you can help with that. And so why not have both? It's not either or. It's not like you have a finite amount of money that you can make. This is the information age where the value of the information is on a different scale than working a profession, career, or job where a boss or a person or a business owner decides what you're worth on an hourly basis, which is limited. and there's very little upward mobility unless you prove how good you are at what you do with your job. Here, you're paid directly proportionate to the value that you bring to the marketplace through information, which can be completely different. Some people think that a $40,000 to $50,000 a year secure job is the best they can ever do, and I know people that do $30,000 to $40,000 a month selling, information to people because it's so valuable. And income disclaimer, those results are not typical. See the full income disclosure below, but people do it. And so, is it possible? Yes. Do we know if you would do it? No. Would it take some time? Probably a long time. Let's be honest. Those people are exceptional. But if you could even have a sliver of that, it's possible. It's up to you. How much do you want to create? So if you have both, and you getting back to the story, if you're telling the story and you're showing social proof to people and illustrating how someone takes all of their time and goes and travels the world, living the beaches of the world, staying in the nicest resorts, and they still can donate to the charities that they want and still be a part of the causes that they want, send money back home, help their parent, whatever the case may be, family members, friends, whatever the case may be, they can still handle that stuff and still have the life that they want. And I see a lot of people being able to do that. It's the funniest thing ever, where people who haven't had a lot of income and been very successful yet always think that they have to choose between good and evil, or bad and this, or I have this and this person has to go without, or the scarcity mindset that there's not enough to go around. And that's all BS. You can have both. Many people do. So when you're telling these stories, this is the social proof part of it, that you can talk about, my friend that did this, or Amy, a single mother of two that created a six-figure income inside of 10 months in her first year working with this company. And results not typical, but it's possible. And so it's up to you to make that happen. But what you can do is you can display and illustrate how people have that same result, and that becomes real. That's the part where it becomes really real. Once you have those things, then you can tell someone, and this is pretty much wrapping up the last part here, after you've done social proof and then you talk about the benefits of what it would do for you if you had it, or if you already do, talk about the benefits you enjoy. Like for me, I get to live in a place in Summit County, which is known as Colorado's Playground, where I live at 9,000 feet in this valley in the mountains around all the greatest ski resorts in the world, and there's a reservoir there where essentially we have a marina and sailboats and everything, like it's almost the ocean, and it's 9,000 feet, and it's beautiful weather. It's not too hot in the summertime, not too cold, and like paradise. And a lot of people don't even realize it, like people are like, don't tell people, this is like one of the best kept secrets, although I just let the cat out of the bag with that one, right? But I get to do that, and I get to wake up in the winter times and choose to go to any mountain that I want to go snowboarding, because that's one of my favorite things to do. And by me explaining these benefits of what I get to do from the fruits of my labor, it makes it real for other people to go, wow, what would I do if I had that kind of free time? And so the last part of it is that now that I've gotten to a place where I can help people, the way I see it is the same way I see an injustice in the world. And that is, if somebody sees an injustice and they have an ability to do something about it, then by default, automatically, they have a right, an honor, and a duty to do something about it if they're capable. And what I see as an injustice is people who think that there's nothing more for them in their lives than what they have right now, and that they've been conditioned by society that they have to have a safe, secure job that keeps them stuck in their box that they can't ever get out of, although their real life purpose and the real soul's purpose and what they really were living for, that they may have forgotten about, getting caught up in having a family and paying bills and trying to survive, what they may have forgotten about is what they're really here to do and how to grow into that. And they lose track of that, and they stop believing that that's possible for them, that they're not good enough for that, that they don't deserve that. And that's crazy talk. It really is. And that's just society beating you down because people don't want to. You find people that can't identify with those types of ideals of having a lot of freedom and being able to have that much choice in their life and living life on their terms, and they're afraid of it. So they cut it down because they don't understand it. Like what Jordan was talking about, a lot of their friends and family told him no. Said that he was crazy, he was in a scam and all that stuff, and really took the wind out of his sails. And one of the things that you've got to learn in this business is you can't listen to the people that aren't doing it. You have to listen to the people that are doing it if you want what they want. or if you want what they have. If you want what your friends and family have, which is more of the same, listen to them. But if you want what we have, listen to us. And so what I would say is the last part of this story, once you talk about the benefits of what other people enjoy and yourself, if you have those yet when you're telling a story, is say, look, this is why I'm doing this. And what I just did is I just illustrated to you why I do this. You see what I just did there? I illustrated to you that, this is why I do this, because I feel it's an injustice not to. Because I feel that people don't have the right education about what they're capable of. And I feel that it's a right and a duty and an honor to be able to bring that to people. So I do. That's why I do this. And that's why I'm bringing it to you now. In this story, showing up to you here now and giving you the doorway, opening the door that you have to walk through. Now, I can't walk through it for you, but I'll open the doorway. You got to walk through it. And you're probably going to have to enter your email into something to give you some piece of value that's going to get you started on this path, but it's well worth it. So there it is. Click the link below. And you see that call to action with justifying why I'm giving you this call to action is very, very powerful. Because believe it or not, what I just told you about why I do this is very, very true. It's setting people free in their minds, reminding them of who they are, what they're really capable of, and inspiring them to be the change that they want to see in the world. And I think that the only way I can do that is be the example myself and be the change myself, which is why our team name is called Team Be the Change. Now, a lot of people could take a spiritual note on that, and we know we have a picture of Gandhi in our team logo, Mahatma Gandhi, and he had the famous quote, "Be the change you want to see in the world," which is true. But you don't have to take it to a spiritual level. It's just about being the change. It's about changing and being the change you want to see, and acting that way, being the example. And this is why I choose to live the lifestyle that I do. A lot of people could say, well, if you're so saintly, then why don't you give away most of your money and live in a shack? Truthfully, I could be just about as happy. But this way, I'm even happier because I can contribute to many more people. I create more significance. And that's real. And what I can do is also tell that in my story, what I believe about this, why I'm doing what I'm doing, my purpose. And people are inspired by that. They always are. Anytime they hear that, they're inspired by it. And it's true, it's real. And this is why I say it over and over again. The people who know me, who are close to me, know this. You've got to get to the same place. And realize that at first, you may just want to find a way to get your head above water. And that's okay. We're here from the beginning, and we'll be here when you get to that point as well. And I'll leave you with this. One of the last things that I'll tell you tonight is the thing that a lot of people will tell you, but a lot of people don't know the meaning of. And that is to ultimately do whatever it takes, and the only time you lose is when you quit. The only time you fail is when you quit. And what one of my mentors told me a while back was, 2 years from now, 5 years from now, we're going to be traveling the beaches of the world. And the only reason that you won't be there is because you gave up on me, because I never gave up on you, and I won't. And so it's your choice. How long it's going to take is going to be up to you. But the real decision is do whatever it takes to get started and find this way to change your life. Go through the process. Understand that there's going to be tough times and times where things are confusing. Power through it. Let the purpose dictate where you go and follow that. And if you don't know your purpose yet, get in this thing because you need to make a change, and you'll find it along the way. But if you don't make a change and start towards moving towards somewhere else, take a look at the person who is your boss. And that's where you may be in 5 years, having what they have. And how exciting is that? Because I can bet you it's not that exciting. And they don't have the lifestyle that you really want or you deserve. So that's why we're here for you, to offer you an avenue to be better than that, to be the change you want to see in the world. There you go. And that's why storytelling works. Back on over to you, Jordan. You're still muted.
Yeah, I can see that. I got Man, I don't know. I got nothing at that. I think that rounded it out pretty good. I just want to close out and say, folks, if you do not currently own the master's course and you get it before tomorrow, I don't remember what lesson we're on. Andrea sends an email out early in the day on what lesson we're on because I've been on lesson 12. So lesson 12 tomorrow. For those of you that don't know in the team, we are going through the master's course together and then have an open discussion each and every single week on the lesson that we're going through. And it's been it's been absolutely mind-altering, not only for the people that are going through it, but also for like me, Chris, and Amy, and the other leaders that are going through it as well. To not only take this stuff in yourself, but then to actually sit and mastermind about it and hear what other people have to say about it. You get so many different viewpoints and so many different angles on the same exact content that you learn different things that you otherwise would not have learned, pick up different things that you otherwise would not have picked up, and it's been just transformational. So make sure that if you are not, if you didn't know about that, get all in, get the master's course and get on that call tomorrow night. It's at 8 p.m. Eastern time. So we do that each and every single week. Other than that, I hope tonight's training was really good for you guys. And, I'm just, it's exciting times, folks. It's exciting times. So
this is one that I may want to remind people in the team that you can actually go and download the audio version of this, and the team site will be up within the next 24 to 48 hours. And listen to this in your car. This one here is a good one to listen to over and over again to help you understand the concepts. And here's a real tip for you. Take notes. Take notes. Outline what we were talking about. We just gave you the structure for how we promote so successfully, and also the same structure that we're going to teach and do with people at our Next Level Mastermind Intensive starting August 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, where we have some of the highest level producers in our company coming out to work with us and learn these funnels and also contribute to this high level mastermind where we're really setting the bar and creating marketing that hasn't existed in this space, in our industry, in this niche. And we're just setting the bar higher, and that's what the intention is for it. If you want to be around these leaders and learn how to create your own funnel and us create your funnel with you, your own personally branded funnel that speaks to your audience and helps you create this story structure and bridge video and all the stuff that comes along with it, copy for your capture page and all that. If you want that, then you may want to take a look at actually I don't have that link for that right now, but you'll get an email, promise. We're going to be promoting that here in the next couple of days, so sit tight. We're going to have that with the team, and then we're going to open it up publicly again one last time. And I believe there's only, I think, 6 or 7 slots left at the moment, Jordan, and then it's all closed up, and you can't be in it anymore. And people are going to talk about this thing, and they're going to want to go to the next one, and the next one, and the next one, because this thing is going to be so awesome. Good stuff coming out of that. But what we did tonight, if you're smart, you can map out what we talked about tonight, and if you're the type of person that's a self-study, do-it-yourselfer that just can think through, just take notes on this stuff and then learn to critically think, you can do the same stuff. If you want help with it, you may want to consider looking at our Next Level Mastermind, and you'll be getting an email about that soon. And that's it. So we've got the Master's Call tomorrow. We're going to have a special training on Thursday for the team. And so for those of you that haven't joined yet, for those of you that now see the value here in the team and what we bring for people and the vision that we have and what we hold for people, join, click below, click the button, get your viral blog, start there, get inside the team site, and be on that training on Thursday. Get all in, be on the call tomorrow. We'll see you there. We love you guys. Till next time, we'll see you.